In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. Here we are, another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix. An attorney's what? Yeah, running away from that bondage, man. The bondage of what? The bondage of the legal matrix. So how's everybody doing out there? Could be morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time zone, country, territory you're in. Let me tell you where we're at. We're at Fort Bragg, North Carolina area. Fayetteville, North Carolina. They changed its name to Fort Liberty, but I will never call it that. So listen, we've got a great episode to talk about today. It's a very interesting topic. You're saying, well, Bryce, what's the topic? Well, I'm going to tell you what the topic is. The topic is called fasting. Now, we've been talking about recently about this thing about called detoxing the domains. But I want to kind of dial it in and talk a little bit about fasting. Now, most of you are probably familiar with fasting, like in dieting or getting closer to God, those kind of things. Not having too much sugar, not having any booze, fasting off of foods, maybe for, getting in shape, holidays, that sort of thing. So I want to talk about this concept, this thing called fasting. And I want to share with you what I did recently. Okay, the first thing is I'm going to have some of my green smoothie. It's called Ghost Greens. It's great because it's healthy, really, really healthy. So let's talk about this fasting thing. All right, so about a week or two ago, something came upon me, and I don't know what it was. Something just kind of entered my head about, fasting. And I've been on this new fitness program for a while. I go through different ones, and I've hired personal trainers and things like that. And, I've worked out different workout programs. But anyway, where I'm going with this is, I don't know, something came upon me one night, and I decided, you know what, I've got to detox my body. And I started researching and went on this thing about water fasting. So I started a water fast, and I did it for 7 days. Now, I, of course, talked to my doctors, my neighbor's doctor, and then some other folks that are good friends of mine, and discussed the pros and the cons and the health risks and stuff like that, and, read up on it. But again, talked to doctors, experts, okay, in this area. So I can tell you that within 24 to 48 hours, I just began to fundamentally change in the way I thought, the way I felt, my spiritual connection to God. And I really wasn't all that hungry. And, there's a difference about, losing weight and losing body fat. They're two different things. They're totally two different things. But I began to notice this fundamental change in me as I just strictly had water and no food. And my body began to go through this transformation of completely just a detox, a really solid detox, mentally, spiritually, and physically. And I began to feel better. I began to have more energy, and I had total clarity and focus. And I felt this unique connection to God. I did. I began to do this complete self-assessment of where I am in all these domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment. And, I was never really in my life big into this thing called fasting. I'd never really done it except for when you got to go for a physical, fast the night before. And it's no big deal. It's 12 hours, maybe something like that. Nothing that's really a big sacrifice. But I began to read more about this fasting thing, and in some major religions, they do it. And then I came across this video the other day, and it said, the 10 top reasons not to fast. And it got into, you don't fast because you're going to die. You don't fast because of this. And it began to have this concept of, fasting to become closer in spirit to God. And again, I don't know what your religious affiliation is, but I do believe in God. I do believe in Jesus. That's just where I'm at. I'm not, the most perfect, and I've clearly committed my sins, and we can have that discussion another day. But as I continued each day in this fasting, this fog began to lift. And I used to have this like really bad cough, and it just, and I'd get up early in the morning and I started hacking and coughing after I do my workout, then I was fine. And then I would like have all this phlegm and mucus and all this yucky stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And what I discovered by this fast, at least in body, is like within 24, 48 hours, I wasn't coughing anymore. Now, of course, we've got this season upon us, like with all the pollen and things of that nature. And of course, when it's winter, it's cold, it's miserable, it's wet and all that. And that can trigger coughs too. And I found as soon as I cut out like all these foods and like sweet iced tea and, I love Mountain Dew, and you're not supposed to, it's really bad for you, but I really love it, especially with crushed ice. But as soon as I just like stopped, there was just total transformation. My body, it was like shock and awe. And I was thinking more clearly, and I was just focused. And recently I had done these really high conflict trials. And during this trial, and it was 4 straight days long of testimony, direct examination, cross-examination. I mean, just intense. It took hundreds of hours to prepare for. And I found that by doing this fasting, even during this trial, that I was focused and had clarity and had control of myself. And I found that this legal matrix, its power was diminishing. Its power. It was like this fasting was building this shield in all of my domains. And I got to tell you, it really made me focus in on everything about me in all these domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment. And as each day went along, I didn't have these cravings for, the sweet iced tea or a Mountain Dew or maybe a processed food. And I found that by doing this, I discovered the things that were toxic to me, at least in body. And when they're toxic to body, they're toxic to, everything else in your life. Spiritually, relationships wise, work wise, everything, all the domains. This fasting began to spread like wildfire to all of the other domains and just completely going in like a seek and destroy mission of everything that was toxic to me in every realm, in every aspect of my life. And I began to not just double down, I began to triple down on really the self-assessment of me of what are the facts of my life. And there was this calm that came over me because and you will find law students and you young lawyers, as you progress, the deadlines are just crushing. It never stops. And you have all this high anxiety and you go to bed at night and you're wondering whether you missed a deadline. Did you issue a subpoena? And and the legal matrix is just surrounding you and circling you at night. It's like 24/7. It just never stops until you war with it. And so I found that one of the weapons of war against the legal matrix is fasting. And it just doesn't have to be a fasting in body of food. It could be a fasting, for example, in the domain of being. Perhaps you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Perhaps there's some sin that you're involved in that you shouldn't be doing. And maybe it's destroying your life. Maybe it's destroying your joy. Maybe it's destroying all of your happiness. Maybe it's destroying all your relationships. Or maybe in balance. Maybe there's something so toxic that you need to fast off of it. Maybe in your balance of your relationship with your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your children or your parents or your friends or your colleagues or your judge or whoever it is, there's something that you need to fast off of in order to destroy it, in order to completely detox in that domain. I'm telling you, it's just incredible. Now, I get it to probably millions, if not billions across the globe that they've done fasting. Maybe they do it on a regular basis. But I'm talking about a unique fasting, because everybody has a different fasting DNA. That's what I'm going to call it. It's like a fasting DNA. It's unique to everybody. And I'm just still amazed and shocked that, really like within 24 hours, just fundamentally changed. Yeah, did I lose some weight? Yeah, I did. Quickly. Now, I'm, taking protein, but I've cut my calorie. It really dialed it in because I have this app on my phone, where I can track the calories. And I was kind of hitting and missing when I had the personal trainers. I'm going to admit it, I was. But now I'm on it every day. I've got it so focused and dialed in about nutrition now and what I eat and what I don't eat and what I drink. And I'm just still sticking to water plus, the Go Screens for the smoothies, for the vitamins, and it's healthy. And this change I feel within me, it's just indescribable. It's indescribable. And I look around our world and I look around at the legal profession, i.e. the legal matrix, and I look at my colleagues. And I look at them and I can tell. You can tell, it's not lie. What are the facts? They don't look good. They don't feel good. Their moods are bad. I interact with attorneys every day, whether it's in person, whether it's by phone, whether it's by text, whether it's by email. And within all of them that I see across the legal profession of this 1.3 million active lawyers, when I see them on TV, when I see, when I meet these people, even from other states or other countries, there's something within them that is so toxic. And you know what it is? It's the legal matrix. See, the legal matrix is everywhere in the legal profession. And it's like this cancer that it just infects you. And it infects you in the domains if you allow it. And for many of you, you don't know that you have the infection. You don't know that you have this cancer that is growing inside you. Because you've been in the matrix so long, you become numb to it. And that happened to me. Because you're so excited when you get accepted to law school and you get your first clerkship and your internship and you pass the bar and you get your first job and you're all excited, but you're so caught up in this deception and delusion and this addiction and the Kool-Aid of the legal matrix that you lose yourself. And slowly but surely, every minute turns to hour, turns to day, turns to week, turns to month, turns to year, turns to decades of where your body has become infected. It's so toxic with the legal matrix that you've lost your way. You've lost your way of truth. You've become somebody else that you were never meant to be. It's kind of like your liver. Your liver is one of the most important organs you have, and it's the only organ that can regenerate when you get scar tissue. The liver is basically in your body, it acts to detox off all these toxins. And if your liver fails, it's a bad day. And if you don't get a liver transplant, you're going to die. Yeah. And so the legal matrix, it tries to almost just like that, get in those bile ducts and just clog you up and infect you and create all these toxins in your domains of body, of being, of balance, and business and fulfillment. And if it festers long enough, if it grows powerful enough, it will destroy your domains. And in the end, it will destroy you. And in some cases, people actually physically die by addictions and suicide. We've had these conversations before from the American Bar Association study, the annual one that came out in the end of 2023. And it quoted other studies about really the misery in the legal profession and the addictions and the suicide rates based on real studies that are recent studies from 2022, 2020, and 2023. And see, this is what the legal matrix does. It's couched in this fancy term called the legal profession. But what is it a profession of? What are we professing? What are we doing? What are we elite at? I'm going to tell you, we're elite at destroying ourselves. We are. We have become elite of being toxic and destroying ourselves and then destroying others around us because of the legal matrix. You can go online and you can listen to all these life coaches and, legal coaches and take these continuing legal education classes and blah, blah, blah on, substance abuse and depression. But here's the thing. They don't know what the hell they're doing to fight the legal matrix because they're not even talking about it, because they don't even know what it is, because they're part of it. These continuing legal education classes on substance abuse and depression, they're not cures to the problem. They're just telling you what you already know. And then when you enroll in these programs, they're sending you to shrinks and stuff and getting prescriptions and just dumbing you down. They're not addressing the problem. See, that's why we're forming Legal Warrior. Legal Warrior is addressing the problem, but it's dealing with it in reality. It's not a happy, clappy conversation. It's a stop the lying, tell the truth, do the work. That's part of the fundamental code, just like Wake Up Warrior that I'm part of, that was founded by Garrett J. White. He's the CEO and founder. If you don't live in truth, you're going to remain infected. The toxins are never going to go away from the legal matrix. I've learned this the hard way. I'm not telling you something that I have not experienced. This isn't about me being vulnerable at all. This is not what this is about. This is about warning you, alerting you, awakening all of you that are law students and lawyers. And maybe if you're listening to this, you're not even in the legal profession. You got to wake up. The legal matrix doesn't just affect law students and lawyers. It affects everybody. Everything in your life, from the moment you're born to the day you die, the legal matrix is all over you. Everything. You can't do anything without some legality. It's overwhelming. And it's seeking now in its march in the world for the one world government, the new world order. It's happening everywhere, where this legal system, this legal matrix, is the tip of the spear to cancel truth, to control every aspect of your life and infect you and become a cancer. And it's infecting the lawyers and the judges and everything associated with what we call the legal profession. This is the wake-up call. This is the call to action. This is why we want to build at least 1 million lawyers across the world to fight this evil, this corruption, this delusion, this deception. But you can't do that if you're not awake and alert to what the legal matrix is, if you're not alert and awake to the plagues of the legal matrix. And in order to go through this detox process of all of your domains, there's this thing we call fasting. You're going to have to do fasting in all of the domains. You're going to have to define it. You may have to sever relationships. You may have to do whatever it takes to stop being addicted to alcohol, to drugs, to porn, to whatever sins that you're addicted to. I had to go through that. Now, I've never done an illegal drug in my life. I never have. I'm not an alcoholic. Yeah, I've had a few drinks and stuff, but I'm not an alcoholic, and I don't drink at all anymore. I don't drink at all. I mean, it's when I'm on my fitness program and stuff, it's just not good. And now I've cut out all the sweet teas and things like that. In relationships, in my balance, I've gotten rid of people in my life that were so toxic. I was like, why didn't I do this sooner? What was I waiting for? And you know what it was? I just didn't take action. Yeah, I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Yeah, that syndrome. And when you go through this detox process and domain, which we've talked about before, and you go into this fasting, you have to be strong. You can't cheat in a fasting in any of the domains. You can't. If you have to sever a relationship from somebody and end it, you have to end it. You can't keep it hanging on. It's one of the things I tell people where they're so enamored by somebody else and then the relationship sours and they're so obsessed with them. They're addicted to them. And there's only one way to end the addiction. You have to go cold turkey. There is no other way. There is no other way. You just have to shut it down. It's painful. There are withdrawals that you go through. Yeah, painful in anything. Foods, addictions to drugs, booze, relationships. But you have to fast off of them. And sometimes you have to make it ruthless. You do. It's like in being. Maybe you're in a relationship you shouldn't be in. I've been there. I have. And these toxic things from the legal matrix. Law students, lawyers, listen to me. It will destroy you. These continuing legal ed classes are not going to save you. The state bar is not going to save you. The voluntary bar associations at the American Bar Association or your state bar association or the local county or city bar association, the voluntary ones, they're not going to save you. You have to save yourself. You have to take the actions to detox, to fast in these domains and get rid of the cancers that grow within you. The legal matrix, it's one of the worst pandemics in the world. See, with the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, the battle of, was temptation and good and evil, and disobeying God, and then they got their asses kicked out of Eden. That's the fall of man. And then sin entered the world. Now, I believe that. I believe that's true. Because look at your world today. What else could it be? What else could it possibly be? This battle of good and evil between Satan and God. What else could it possibly be? And the legal system all along human history has been used. Some for good, and some for bad and evil. And right now in today's world, and in particular in the United States, what's going on with the judicial system, the judiciary, the judges, the courts? It's a tip of the spear of the legal matrix. And it's traveling the globe. It's traveling this world that we live in. And it's a cancer, and it's infecting lawyers and judges and anybody that is part of the legal profession. It's infecting them. Their judgment is clouded. They're deceived. They're deluded. They don't know what they're doing. They've gone off the path of truth. That's what's happening. So I have to ask you, where in your world do you need to fast? Where in these domains of body, of being, of balance, of business, and fulfillment do you need to do a fast? I want you to ask yourself that today. And I want you to write down the answers. I did. And I'm fasting in these domains. I'm identifying the toxins. I'm identifying the cancers. I'm on a seek out, close with, and kill the enemy mission. The legal matrix is evil. It's evil. It has to be destroyed. It has to be destroyed. The corruption, the delusion, the deception, the lies, it has to be destroyed. And it can only be destroyed by those men and women willing to stand up and fight, to open, to own, to operate, and lead their own law firms in truth. The world is headed toward a storm. There's a storm coming. And you have to be ready to weather the storm. You're going to have to fight in the storm. You law students, you young lawyers, or you lawyers, I don't know how long you've been out there. You may have to leave your nation of the law firm that you're at. You need to go out on your own. If you're feeling what I'm feeling, if you hear the message, if you hear this call to action, if you're listening to it, you're thinking, there's a reason why you're here and you're listening to this. Because you know you have a sole purpose. And you need to have that conversation with me. Reach out to me. Go to my email at brycednair@gmail.com. Bryce D, my first name, my middle initial D is in Delta, my last name, Nair. Bryce D. Nair, it's real simple, at gmail.com. Have that conversation with me. Have that conversation. You can't escape the legal matrix if you're not even aware of what it is, if you're not alert and awake. It's time for you now to start fasting. And it's not a 1 day or a 1 week thing. This is the rest of your life in all the domains of body, being, balance, business, and fulfillment. It's a never-ending fast. You have to stop the cancer. You have to detox your domains. You have to do it. Okay, it's an intense subject. These are deep thoughts, deep questions, but it's reality. It's not a kumbaya. It's not a happy, clappy, slap you on the back and see you, call me in 3 days. Take aspirin if you got a headache. No, it's not the way it works. All right, this is Bryce D. Nair coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. Love and light to all of you. We'll see you the next episode. Again, this is Bryce D. Nair, and we're out of here.